So you want to attend U.S. Army Officer Candidate School. My name is Captain Lang. I graduated U.S. Army Officer Candidate School in 2020, and I'm going to tell you today all the tips I wish someone had told me before I attended Officer Candidate School. I'm talking the real tips, not the run faster, get better at PT. Everyone knows that. If you're going to Officer Candidate School and you're not a fast runner, run more, right? That's an obvious one. Now I'm going to give you the real tips. If you don't want to be an infantry officer, you better be darn good at infantry tactics. This is a saying that was said constantly when I was in Officer Candidate School by our cadre. Those who were good at infantry tactics got high on the OML, and they got to get whatever branch they wanted. Those that were not good at infantry tasks and tactics ended up on branch day sad in a corner crying, and they ended up force branching infantry. A little look behind the curtain for those who had no idea that that's how that happens. So if you really want infantry, you're probably going to get it, right? But for those who don't want infantry, you better be good at infantry tasks. And the one that you should be the best at, my number one tip of all time for anyone going to Officer Candidate School, be good at land navigation. Land nav is worth so many points. When I went through Officer Candidate School, that was easily the top third of the OML were those who did well and tested out the first day of land nav. I have a previous video, if you want to go reference that, on a whole bunch of land nav tips that I learned through the reconnaissance school. All right, so get good at land nav. It's not that hard. Take the practice days serious. Run, run, run. It is a running event. It is not a walking event. You would rather be worn out and have an hour left on the clock than be like people I saw that at all of their points would ended high on the OML. They could have gotten whatever branch they wanted. They were walking to the finish line, failed by minutes. Don't be that person, right? Land nav, land nav, land nav. All right, for those that don't know, I'm currently stationed at Fort Wainwright in Fairbanks, Alaska, and winter has hit. It has started snowing. It is cold. All right, so let me toss on my favorite jacket, and now we can head up to the office, and I'll finish telling y'all what I wish someone had told me before I went to Officer Candidate School. All right, so OCS, tip number 2, put out on the class up PT test. You're going to take a PT test to class up to get into OCS. National Guard and Reserve cats, they have a reserve slot. Active duty folks, you got to fight to get in. Put out, put out, put out. They go back and forth. Some classes, it's a prorated scale on how many points you get out of that. My class, it was point for point. On a 600 scale ACFT, where people generally score in the 3 to 400s, who are kind of just barely getting the minimums, right? That's a 200 point differential you're not going to overcome. Put out on that PT test. Leave it all in the field. Worry about it later, right? So those of you watching this right now that are like, how am I going to put out on that PT test? You got to train. You got to train your butt off before you get there. I trained for 11 months before I arrived to OCS. I scored, to this date, still my highest ACFT score in my career, most fit shape in my life, and I wasn't even in the top 15% of my class. That's how wild it is. You got to put out and you got to train. 3, be a ghost, right? Be a nobody. What I mean by that is when it comes time to do things in the course, be reliable, be dependable, be somebody that your classmates would look to in a time of need. When it comes time to graduate, you should get to the end, put on your butter bar as a second lieutenant, walk across that stage, shake the cadre's hand. They should look at your name tape and say, Lieutenant YouTuber, who are you? Right? Perfect. That is exactly what you want. What that means is you avoided their eyesight, you avoided getting in trouble, you avoided doing anything you shouldn't be doing, and you didn't get any negative spot reports. Negative spot reports made the difference for some people between being sad in the corner, getting a forced branch to a branch they did not want, and getting the branch they wanted, right? So those are my 3 biggest tips I can give you. I can elaborate in further videos, but for now, I think that's enough to digest. Take land nav super serious, train your butt off, and put out on that opening PT test. Do not get negative attention from cadre. Do not get spot reports. It will make the difference at the end of the day. Get high on the OML, get the branch you want. Don't get force branched. And remember, if your dreams don't scare you, you need new ones.